Hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for joining me today at our Housing and Residence Life Services Live at 5 session. My name is Emily, and I am very excited to talk to you all about all things residence. I know that as incoming first-year students, you probably have a ton of burning questions. Residence is arguably one of the best parts about university and about your first-year experience, and it was definitely one of my absolute favorite moments, and all of my favorite memories come from living in residence. So I'm super excited to talk to you about all things that Carleton Residence has to offer. So today I'm going to be talking about the different buildings that we have, the different room types that we have. I'm going to be talking about the supports and services that are available specifically to resident students, the different ways that you can become involved, the different things that are available to you, and it's going to be a really great time. So before we get started, I want to let you know that we have a Q&A function. So any questions that you have, I want you to type those questions right into the Q&A, and we have a whole team of recruiters on the back end who will be able to answer all of those questions for you. And a special treat that I have for you is I'm going to be ending off this presentation with a Q&A with one of our current students who has been living and working in residence for a few years now. So let's jump right into it. Before we begin, I want to acknowledge Carleton University's location on the traditional unceded territories of the Algonquin Nation, and we always do this out of respect for our Indigenous communities. So this is just one of many ways that you are going to be able to connect with us throughout this year. This is our Housing and Residence Life Services Live at 5, but we have some other really cool Live at 5 sessions coming up. Every Wednesday at 5, we have a different topic, so you can learn more about awards and financial aid. If you're a student coming from college or cégep, we also have one specifically for you. We also have the Talking Raven, which was just launched. Now we have 2 episodes, and you can find this podcast on Spotify, and my friend Stenley is the host. He's pictured right there. So if you want to learn more about what our students and staff and faculty are up to, join us on that podcast. It's available on Spotify. And then last but not least, we have our future Raven coffee breaks. So those are really cool because I know that you can all see me right now as I'm presenting to you, but unfortunately I can't see you. But I would love to have a conversation with you and to answer any questions that you have. So if you're looking to talk to one of our team members, then sign up for one of our virtual coffee breaks, and we'll pair you with someone who graduated from the same program that you're interested in or a very similar program. So we want you to continue connecting with us throughout this entire process. Okay, let's dive right in. So at Carleton, we have 11 residence buildings. 9 of them are for first-year students. And of those 9 buildings for first-year students, we have 8 of them are traditional style buildings, and 1 of them is a suite style. So each building has its own unique sense of community, and our buildings range from buildings that are as small as 4 floors all the way up to our bigger buildings that have 10 floors. And the really nice thing about our residence is that all buildings are located in the same area. So you're not walking through, academic buildings. You're not having to walk through our athletics facilities to get from building to building. They're all located in one area, making it really easy to go visit your friends who live in other buildings, because I guarantee you're going to meet other students who are living in other buildings, and you're going to want to go visit them. So it's really nice, and it creates a really nice community atmosphere to have everything in the same spot. Now, each floor has a TV lounge as well as a study lounge. So no matter where you're living, you're going to have the chance to meet other students who live in your buildings. Oftentimes, the TV lounge is sort of the gathering place for an entire floor to get together. And I'm going to talk a little bit more later about the different types of things that you can do with your floor, and that the initiatives that you can do so that that community is really created. So it's important to know that as a first-year student, you are guaranteed a spot in residence. So with your offer of admission, you'll be guaranteed a double traditional room. So this picture here is one of our double traditional rooms in Lennox and Addington House, and that's what you're going to be guaranteed. And it makes up about 65% of our residence rooms. Now, we do have some other types of rooms, and you can request those rooms. We just don't guarantee those ones because there aren't as many of them. But Our traditional rooms come with beds, desks, and chairs, just like you see here. So we have double rooms, which means that you'll be sharing a roommate. So you can see here in this picture, there's 2 beds, there's 2 desks, and then each bedroom connects to another bedroom through a washroom. So we like to call the people that you share a washroom with a canmate. So it's usually about 4 people sharing a washroom there. Now, like I said, you can request a single room or a suite style room. So if that were the case, if you were to get a single room, it would be the exact same as a double traditional, except you would be the only one in the room, and you would likely share a washroom with someone else who is living in a single room as well. Now, the difference between a traditional room and a suite style room is that if you do live in a suite, you have access to a kitchen. So every single suite for first year students has 4 people living in it. There's either going to be 2 bedrooms with 2 people per bedroom, or there will be 4 bedrooms with 1 person. So you can live in a double suite, or you can have a single suite. And the suites include a little kitchen area. So you get a full-size fridge. You do not have an oven or a stovetop, but you are allowed to bring a hot plate, a kettle, a microwave, a toaster oven, and those kinds of things for meal prep. Now, you're probably wondering about food, since I just started to talk about it. I'm going to talk about the CAF in a little bit, but I'll just mention right now that as a resident student, you do have an all-access meal plan to the CAF, but I'm going to go into more detail a little bit later because it differs depending on if you're in a traditional style room or if you're in a suite style room. So our residence community at Carleton is a very unique one, and there are so many ways for you to become involved. So first of all, we have the CAF, which I just mentioned, and the nice thing about the CAF is that there's one CAF for every student living in residence. So we don't have, one spot in each building. We have one CAF for everyone. It's centrally located. It's a really big facility, and the food is amazing. So I personally am a very picky eater, and I never had a problem finding something that I liked. There's vegetarian options, there's vegan options, halal, gluten-free. There's always a salad bar where you can make your own salads. There's a pizza station, a pasta station, a sandwich station, an omelet station, a dessert station. Like, there's so many stations, and it's just awesome. And there's even a soft serve ice cream machine. So there's tons of options no matter what you like to eat. I know that there will be something for you. And if you're worried about that, if you have sort of a dietary restriction that you might be worried about, we actually do have a registered dietitian on site who would be happy to meet with you and discuss the different options that are available to you. So in the right hand, on the far right, you'll see a picture of one of our TV lounges, which is I was mentioning to you before, and each floor in residence has its own TV lounge. And this is where a lot of floor events take place. So I remember when I was in my first year, we would watch, movies. I remember the girls on my floor would like to watch, every Monday night, they would like to watch The Bachelor. We had our holiday party in that room where we got to decorate cookies, and everyone came and wore their ugly holiday sweater. We decorated a tree. I remember having spa nights in there. So really, you can do anything that you want. And the nice thing for students and for you is that you will have the opportunity to spearhead initiatives. So you can really lead any sort of event that you want to, and you'll have support doing that by your residence fellow. And I'm going to talk a little bit about residence fellows later, but there's lots of opportunities for you to do that, which is really cool. So in residence, we understand that, it's a big transition for students. We want you to feel supported. We want to make sure that you're having a good time, that you feel welcomed, and that you feel like you're a part of our community, because that's really important to us. So we have quite an abundance of supports in residence. We have residence fellows, and those are upper year students who live on each floor. So depending on the size of the floor, there's either going to be 1 or 2 residence fellows, and these are students typically in their 2nd, 3rd, or 4th year. And they act as a mentor for you. So they're your first point of contact. If you have any issues, if you're looking for academic support, they can point you in the right direction. If you're looking to get involved on residence or on campus, they can help you do that. If you want to become a leader, or you want to, see what's out there, or even in the greater Ottawa community, you can do that. They can also point you in the right direction for, mental health support, really any type of support that you need, they are there. And something really cool that we do actually is we facilitate roommate agreements. So your residence fellow, within the first month of school, will facilitate a roommate agreement between you and your roommate and your canmates. So they'll go over sort of like a written up contract, and that's where you and your roommate get to talk about, your standards of living, and so that you can all be on the same page to make the best, experience possible. We also have a residence counseling office. So this is an office, and it's specifically dedicated to resident students. It's located on the first floor of one of our residence buildings. We have 3 residence counselors, and they're available from Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 4:30 p.m. And you can book an appointment with them, and they're there to support students and their mental health, as we recognize that mental health and well-being is really important for students. Another cool feature of that office is we have a wellness space. So there's a little room in there that you can go to. They've got some beanbag chairs, coloring books, craft supplies, plants. You can go in there and you can go by yourself. You can come with some friends. You can color. You can read. It's really just a really awesome space to decompress and to sort of get away from whatever it is that you want to get away from. And it's just such a great room, and I remember making use of it a lot when I was in residence. And a bonus is that they sometimes have a therapy dog that comes and hangs out with the students who are hanging out in there. Now, we also know that supporting students means helping them get involved. And being involved is such a big and fun part of residence. So that's why we have staff called community developers, and their purpose is to create these initiatives and events that happen throughout the year. So I remember I lived in residence in my first year, my third year, and my fourth year, and they would host things like the roommate game, which is like the newlywed game. So what you do is you sign up with your roommate, and it's a big event that happens in one of our big lounges. And they go all out with the prizes and everything. And what you do is you sign up with your roommate or your canmate. If you're in a single room, you can sign up with your canmate. And essentially you're being quizzed and, tested to see how well you actually know your roommate. So you both have to do it. You both get quizzed. And they give away really, really cool prizes. So when I was there, they were giving away Beats headphones, iPads, Sens tickets. So definitely sign up for this. It's a really cool way to A, get to know your roommate, and B, get out and get involved in the residence community. And that's not the only thing that they host. I remember them hosting The Price is Right. I remember them bringing in a hypnotist one time, which was really cool. So there's tons of different residence-wide events so that you can participate in these events with other students who live in other buildings. Because like I said, you're going to make friends who live in other buildings. But you can also participate in events just with your floor. So I was talking a little bit earlier about how your residence fellow can support you in, leading certain events. So each floor has a certain amount of money allocated to them, and you are allowed to use that money to do things with your floor. So if you want to host like a pizza night one night, or you want to go to Sky Zone, which is this like trampoline gym with your floor, or you want to go play laser tag, you have the ability to do that as students. You're able to take that initiative and take that stuff on. So there's tons of really great ways that you can get involved and that you can get support in residence. I can talk about it all day, but I won't tonight. So I really want everyone to go to 360.carleton.ca if you haven't already. We want you to visit us there, sign up for an account. You can learn so much about not only residence, but you can learn about our programs. And you have the opportunity to receive some really cool swag. So that way, when you come to residence, you'll already be decked out in your Carleton gear, and you'll already be feeling like a raven, which, is pretty awesome, to be honest. And if we're going to be wearing masks these days anyways, you might as well be wearing a raven's mask. Okay, so now I'm going to bring on a very special guest. I'm going to bring on Colleen. So I've actually worked with Colleen, and I lived in residence at the same time as Colleen. Colleen she did her undergrad at Carleton, and she's currently doing her master's, but I'm going to let her tell you a little bit more about herself. So Colleen, do you want to come on and introduce yourself?
Hello, everybody. Thank you for being here tonight, and thank you for that lovely introduction, Emily. But yeah, my name is Colleen. I use she, her pronouns, and Emily is 100% correct. I did do my undergraduate degree at Carleton. I studied law with a minor in human rights and social justice for 4 years. I graduated back in April. I guess technically June is when the graduation would have been. And then I started my master's in legal studies and have been doing that ever since. I've been working in residence for the past 4 years, and I have been in a number of roles throughout the school year and throughout the summer. But that is a little bit about me, and I'm looking forward to the Q&A and questions that anybody has.
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Colleen. We're very excited to have you on here because we know you're, like the residence queen. So my first question for you is, how can students become involved in residence in their first year?
That's a great question, and I would say really important as well. I think, as you were saying, Emily, getting involved is incredibly significant, not only to make new friends, but also to maybe even build up your resume. There are a selection of ways, like what Emily also mentioned, leading a student-led initiative on your floor, getting involved that way. That's a great way to connect with not only the students on your floor, but also branch out, get to know a little bit more about Carleton and the Ottawa community as well. And a great thing about once you put on a student-led initiative or get involved in that way is that you have the option to meet with another student staff member. They're called community advisors. And they will reach out to you via email. Your residence fellow may pass on your information if you've held an event for your floor. And you can sit down with this community advisor and talk about your interests. Talk about where you want to be, maybe what you want your career to be in, so that they can help you get even more involved in residence and more involved in Carleton and Ottawa as well. You also have the option, we have community and campus days that you can also participate in specifically for resident students. And that is a great opportunity to go with a selection of resident students that sign up and go to an off-campus location. We've gone to volunteer with different food banks, as well as we have a garden, an outdoor community garden called Fletcher's Wildlife Garden nearby campus, and that is a place that we've gone in the past. So there's a variety of ways, and really all you have to do is ask, and there are plenty of different options for you, whether you're more interested in getting involved just on your floor or getting involved in the greater Carleton community, residence community, and Ottawa community.
That's awesome. Thank you. Sounds like there's so many different ways to get involved, which is great. I want to ask you a little bit about the CAF now. So, with the CAF, every student is guaranteed an all-access meal plan, which means that they can go into the CAF, whenever they want, as many times as they want, which is awesome. So with that, what is your favorite part about the CAF?
Oh my gosh, I really enjoy the CAF. As I said, maybe I didn't exactly say, but I lived in residence for 4 years, and I don't think if the CAF was good, I wouldn't have stayed for as long as I did. But yeah, I especially love the amount of stations that they have and different kinds of food. They have 11 stations to be exact. And they really do change it up throughout the year, which I really appreciate. It never gets boring with the meals that they serve. My favorite station, I would say, is the sandwich station. I love it, whatever mood I'm in. I know that I can always go there and switch up what I want on a sandwich. I also like the fact that the CAF tries to get students' opinions as to what they want to see in the CAF. They have a drop box at the front where you can write down meals that you want to see. and they make sure that they go through those and execute those meals throughout the school year, which I think is fantastic. And they also connect with students by hosting events in the CAF. For the past handful of years, they've done a carnival themed event. They did a Harry Potter themed event, which is basically where they shut down the CAF for a little bit later in the evening, and then allowed students to come in, and special meals were prepared, including everything from like popcorn and nachos to pogos and hot dogs, and that creates a really fun environment.
Yeah, I actually remember the Harry Potter night. It was I think I was in first year when they did Harry Potter, and it was so cool. Like they even had all of the staff decked out like as Dumbledore and Harry, and yeah, it was just awesome. It was tons of fun. So the CAF is great.
Exactly.
So my next question for you is, what was your first year residence experience like? Like, did you have a roommate? You know, what building did you live in?
Yeah, my first year was great. I am from a small town outside of the Toronto area, so I was a little bit nervous coming to Carleton and living in residence just because I didn't know anybody. It was far from home, about 5 hours, but I was very happy when I got there and comforted. I lived in Glengarry in my first year, and I did have a roommate and also 2 other people in the room next door that I shared a bathroom with as well. And they were really awesome. The experience was great. Again, as Emily said, we completed our roommate agreement, which went smoothly, I'm happy to report. And we still stay in touch today, which is great. But yeah, my roommate, was in a similar program to me. That is something that we try and pay attention to, that maybe if you aren't in the same program, you'll be in a similar program with somebody that you're sharing a space with, just so that your schedules will align as closely as possible, and that maybe you're even in a couple classes together and you're able to relate in different ways. So that was something that was really awesome in my first year and made things a lot easier, because I knew that I was able to talk to her that way. But yeah, and I tried to get involved where I could. I put on a few student-led initiatives myself for my floor, and I also stay in touch with a lot of people on my floor in first year today. So a great community and a really great experience.
That's awesome. You brought up something that I want to ask you in my next question, which was, how can students, how can they be sure that we're matching them with a roommate who would be a good fit for them? Is there a way that, is there something that we look at to help them to do that?
Yes, yeah. So students fill out a roommate information form before they get assigned their rooms and before they get assigned their roommates. So that is something that is emailed out to you to your Carleton email account once you have accepted and paid your deposit and all of that is cleared out of the way. Then you fill that out, and the residence information form has a bunch of questions on it asking you about your habits, what you're looking for in a roommate, what kind of room you are interested in, whether that be a double room, a single room, suite style room. And then we take a look at that on the housing side, our accommodations team, and we try and match people up as best as we can, so that you have something in common with the person that you're going to be living with for 8 months. But yeah, and then if maybe we don't make as good as a match as we thought we did, then there are a lot of things that we do to support you at Housing and Residence Life to make sure that anything that may come up is resolved. But that is typically quite rare because we do pride ourselves on paying attention to the smaller things when it comes to matching up roommates.
That's awesome. And so I have one last question for you that actually it just came in from one of our students watching, and the question is, Are the rooms co-ed or same sex? Do we have any trans or non-binary, floors or rooms, or what sort of options are available to students in that regard?
For sure, yeah, we tend to match up students with individuals who identify as the same gender, so female with female, man with man, etc. So that is how we do it typically. If you are interested in living with somebody that identifies as another gender, then you can specify that and let us know. And we will make sure to try and pair that with you. But the only situation that we would be pairing people and putting them in a co-ed situation is if they specifically request it. Other than that, we are very accommodating to anybody with any different identity and try to make them feel as supported and as comfortable as possible. But if you have any concerns about being paired up with somebody, maybe if you are and you do identify as trans or non-binary and you're not sure what the upcoming year is going to look like for you and what you want your roommate situation to look like, then feel free to reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to chat with you about your needs. Our website has been linked in the chat a few times, and so has our email, accommodations@carleton.ca. So feel free to email us there, and we will be more than happy to answer more of your questions about that.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, Colleen, thank you so much for joining me today. I think it was really valuable for our prospective students to hear from one of our current students and to hear all about what residence was like for you. So thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me, and I hope to see you all in the fall.
Exactly. So I just want to wrap this up with something that Colleen just left off with, which is, stay in touch with us. If you have any questions, if you have any concerns, if you want to chat with us about anything, then reach out to us. This is our email, the Housing and Residence Life Services email that you see on the screen. But also follow us on all of our social media channels. This is where we communicate with students about upcoming dates and deadlines. It's also where there's going to be a ton of advertising for when you are living in residence. We'll advertise all of the different events and initiatives and the cool stuff that is taking place. So I just want to say thank you everyone for joining me today. I know that residence is such a huge part of the first year university experience. It's so exciting. It's the first time for probably many of you that you're going to be moving away from home, living on your own, experiencing all of that freedom and that independence. And it's just such an exciting time. So I want to thank you so much for joining me today. We're going to leave the Q&A open for a few more minutes so that we can answer any questions that you still have. And like Colleen said, I hope to see you all very soon. Bye.